Welcome into the CHGO White Sox post-game show presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Welcome into Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm the host of the CHGO White Sox podcast, Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. And alongside me is Herb Lawrence. Hello. You can follow him on Twitter at Ekronwall23. He's the CHGO White Sox community leader. And at least Chi-Town Fanboy is on the right track. We did it. We did it, folks. Not the players, not the guys in the uniform, not Tony, not Miguel Cairo, not Frankie Manichino, not Ethan Katz, not Rick, not Kenny, not Jerry. We did it. We did it, and the Sox are guaranteed not to have a losing season this year. So congratulations to us. The White Sox win tonight, 8-3. Yay! The White Sox win their 81st game of the year. The bad news, there's one game left. So the worst or the best that they could finish is 82-80. The worst that they could finish is 500 at 81-81, which would be very fitting for this team. Herb, how you feeling?
Fine. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's good to see Lucas do well, especially for our guy, Steven, who had a season bet on him on over 10.5 wins.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this over to hit for like 6 straight starts now. It's been way too long. I'm glad I made the $4.70 profit.
I'm very happy for you. Last time we were watching a Lucas Giolito start, I had money on the Twins, so I was rooting for the Twins. Lucas ended up not getting the win today, but I'm glad he was able to give you the backdoor cover on the final game of his season. What are you going to do with your $4.90?
You know, I'm probably going to use part of that or all of that to get half a sandwich because that's all it's going to be able to get me.
I was about to say he'd buy 1/4 of his Portillo's order with $4.90. Anyways, we are here after an 8-3 victory by the Chicago White Sox. We won't be spending too much time on the White Sox game today because there's much more important stuff. We still have some leftovers from the Rick Hahn press conference that we want to get to, and some of the leftovers was Jose Abreu and what Rick Hahn had to say about Jose Abreu. Jose Abreu also talked today, so we'll talk about some of the things Jose had to say, his future with the Sox in 2023. Vinnie Duber will be joining us from Guaranteed Rate Field. He talked to Jose Abreu, so he'll be able to give you some firsthand knowledge and experience of what happened today and what Jose Abreu had to say. And then we'll also talk about Johnny Cueto. He made his final start for the White Sox in 2022 yesterday, and he deserves a lot of credit, and I think he's an interesting person to chat about here because he was also seen in the upper deck today running around with Luis Robert, which was pretty cool to see. So,
hey, if he gets Luis Robert on a running program, I'm in for it. I'm in. Or at least has Luis Roberts like, hey, give you the little seeds. This is how I stay as a elite player at the age of 36. You're a young cat. You should be doing this every day to keep your win together and so you can last longer in the season.
And burn off that Domino's pizza, my friend. There you go. And a shout out to Dave, who's giving us a shout out. He says, shout out to Sean, Herb, Vinny, and the CHGO Sox producers. Mainly Stephen Nicholas. Want to give him a heads up or an extra shout out just because he's produced, I think, the most games for us by far. Had a blast watching this season, following along with you all in postgame. We appreciate all of you guys, Mr. C, Chi-Town Fanboy, White Sox, Tom, Clark, all you guys hanging out right now, Melissa as well, the usuals, the regulars, all the members of CHGO and allchgo.com. And remember, if you're watching right now, make sure to like and subscribe. But Herb, let's talk a little bit about today's game. Yes, we have to. Top of the second, JK hit a sacrifice fly. Kind of a messy start to this game again for Lucas Giolito. In the second inning, he hit not only the leadoff hitter, but the guy after him and Jose Miranda. Then a fielder's choice moved the guy over, and then a sac fly drove him in. But the kind of scary moment there, Jose Miranda getting hit on the hand, then it bouncing up and hitting him in the face. He ended up leaving the game, but very scary in fast motion, but fine in slow motion when you see it hit the hand first and then bounced off Miranda's face. But you hate seeing anything go up near the head of any player.
Exactly, and I'm hoping for health from Miranda. He had a pretty great rookie season. You know, the Minnesota Twins' problem was health. Like, that's most of the things that's been wrong with the Minnesota Twins this year. And so Miranda had a breakout year where I don't think I was expecting this year. I didn't see him early in the year, and then he came on and he hit a bunch of home runs. So I'll be looking out for that guy next year with the Minnesota Twins. I hope he gets traded to some other team so the White Sox don't have to face him as much. I mean, next year is more of an even schedule, so it'll help there. But, you know, we'll be fighting with the Twins, the Guardians, and the Tigers, sometimes the Royals, for this AL Central crown. So Miranda will be a big part of that.
Yep, and then in the bottom of the third, the Sox were able to take the lead, and they never surrendered that lead. Moncada doubled to deep right center. He had a great first at-bat against Winder, and that scored Elvis Andrus. Then Eloy Jimenez doubled to deep left. He scored Moncada, and Jose Abreu went to third. Abreu got hit on a 3-2 pitch. That was scary, went up and in, but a guy just losing his command, and we saw a lot of that today. And then Gavin Sheets reached on an infield single to second. Abreu scored, and Jimenez scored. And then in the bottom of the fourth, Adam Engel doubled to deep left, making it 5-1. Grandal scored, and then Romy Gonzalez moved to third. And then with Engel and Gonzalez on base, Elvis Andrus hit his 17th home run of the year, making it 8-1. And then at the top of the sixth and top of the ninth, the Twins were able to add runs, giving us the score of 8-3. But I think the biggest news, at least play-wise, Elvis Andrus hitting his 17th home run. That ties the White Sox lead with Andrew Vaughn. So, Herb, if I told you before this year that Elvis Andrus would have a share of the lead with the White Sox, he's hit 9 home runs with the White Sox, how shocked would you have been?
Like, which system do you got? You got PS5,
right.
You got Xbox One? Because I like to get on the show with you on that thing, because why is Elvis Andrus on the White Sox? Yeah, very shocking because, firstly, he wouldn't be at the team at the beginning of the year, and secondly, Elvis not known necessarily for his power, but he'll be leading the team right now or tied with Andrew Vaughn with the 17 home runs. I would be very shocked, and I would say the White Sox would be around the record they have right now if the leader in home runs would be 17 at the end of the year.
Yeah, sad. And like we said, first time since 1990, unless Andrew Vaughn or Elvis Andrus hits 3 home runs tomorrow.
Elvis, I don't think counts because he wouldn't do it with the White Sox.
9 home runs, though. He might have double-digit home runs. And I got to check out how many players would have double-digit. If he hits a home run tomorrow, he would have double-digit home runs with the White Sox in like under 50 games.
Amazing.
And we couldn't find one other guy. I mean, Elvis Andrus had years and years of not hitting double-digit home runs. And then here he comes out of nowhere, just hitting bombs with the White Sox. And the White Sox were starved for power, and all they needed was a 34-year-old shortstop.
And as Melissa said, this is how the team should have played all season long. Yeah, getting great performance from Lucas Giolito, timely hitting the ball over the fence, picking the ball up and throwing it to first base. All that good stuff today it looked nice as the team looked like the team that they were supposed to be. Pressure's off. So, yeah, they've been playing well versus the Minnesota Twins in this series.
Yeah, and Lucas looked good tonight, as you mentioned. Let's look at Lucas's pitch mix today. He's one of the final guys that I'm actually watching. I don't really care too much how Lance Lynn finishes the season. I don't really care how much, how Dylan Cease finishes the season. Same with Johnny Cueto.
Davis Martin?
Davis is interesting, but again, as long as he's showing the same things as he did last year, I mean, it's how can you build in the offseason? What can you show us next year? Because the pitcher he is right now isn't going to be a 5th starter in the majors. I mean, he needs to take another step if he wants to be that 5th starter for the Sox in 2023. But Lucas here, 42 four-seam fastballs, 30 changeups tonight, 13 sliders, 6 curveballs. His velocity was still down about 1.5 miles from where it normally was. So, I mean, his velocity wasn't anything. So if you want to talk about what's wrong with Lucas Giolito, he was still able to get by with poor velocity tonight, 4 strikeouts. He got 26 swings on those fastballs, 5 whiffs, and on the changeup, 7 whiffs on 12 swings. So that thing's absolutely thangin' right now. He's got that figured out. That changeup is, at that elite level again. I don't know where that's been, what adjustments he's made, but he's made them. He also got 15 called strikes, which is used 7 on the fastball. And the called strike plus whiff percentage tonight was 30%. MLB average was 27 on his fastball. It was 29% on his changeup, 40%. And if you're throwing 72 pitches and your called strike plus whiff percentage is around 35%, you're going to do well. And he was doing well all the way through the 6th inning. Tonight. He was fantastic. And this is the guy that you want to see. And I think a lot of it just has to do with command. He was able to command up and in tonight a lot, and he was able to keep that changeup below the belt, and that's what he needs to do. And if he's able to do that with 93 mile per hour velocity, maybe that ERA isn't above 4. It's a number that has a 3. Like, I do wonder how much a true regimen for him this offseason and how much the time off will help Lucas Giolito hopefully return to that form. I think he can. I think there's still some signs that pitcher is still in there. Maybe not ace level, but I still think like top 3 in a rotation.
Me too. And I think this is why his velocity is going down right now is because of wear and tear, because of this long season, other stuff that affected him. We were talking about the oblique injury he had early in the year. Maybe this is affecting him. And as you said, maybe having some time off, letting that heal properly, having the regiment throwing program starting in December where you can ramp it back up. Maybe you can be 93, 94 more consistently. You don't have to be 95, 96. It would be great if you get back up to that level, but you don't have to be there. But develop another pitch would be my thing that I would want for Lucas. The changeup works. The slider is hit or miss. The four-seam fastball, if it's not up to the mid-90s, it's getting hit hard. Give me a developed curveball, which he used like 6 times today, or a two-seam or cutter to go along with the pitch mix that he has right now, and I think you'll get more batters out there. Just try to do something a little bit different. Don't come back with the same pitch mix, because the slider the changeup would work, but I think, the variance between the fastball and the changeup's not there, and the slider's not as crisp as it has been in the past.
Yeah, I don't love what he offers, at least beyond the four-seam fastball and the changeup, but he has one pitch that works. And, you saw with the Orioles when they're trotting out their rotation against the Sox, they found guys that were abandoned from other organizations that had one pitch that worked. The Diamondbacks do this a lot as well, especially Brent Strom. Like, if you can work on one single pitch and have a pitch that works as much as this changeup, the other stuff really doesn't matter. It's just... it helps you, and especially with a starter when you're going to be facing guys, 3 times in a game, like it just gives you that separation. It lets you, mess with timing just with that velocity and that difference. But I think the fact that he still has that elite changeup, getting 7 whiffs on 12 swings, that's huge right there. So I still think there's something out there that the Sox fans should be excited about, because he should be on the team for next year. And hey, I don't think he'll be fighting over, $25K or whatever it was this offseason. I think he's going to probably be a pretty easy arbitrator.
Oh, he's going to accept whatever the White Sox sitting out there. It's like, yeah, that sounds good, brother. Thanks.
Yep.
Thumbs up.
Let's move on now to the offseason, because that's what this podcast is about. And shout out to Mr. C, who says, Sean and Herb, will you guys be back for CHGO Sox next year? We should be back, and so should Vinnie Duber as well. So no worries on the CHGO team. And Vinnie just joined, so let's just jump into the ad read and then go out to Guaranteed Rate Field and chat with Vinnie Duber. We want to tell you about Green Ridge Farm. We were joking a little bit earlier today about I got here earlier. I was watching the Cubs games with the CHGO Cubs crew, and I was like, Luke was like Green Ridge Farms, and if you order 1 Patrick Wisdom, you get a meat stick free. So just the way he was always consistently offering out there, hey, you guys want Patrick Wisdom? You guys want Patrick Wisdoms? We ended up turning this into a Green Ridge Farm. Give me
Green Ridge Farm over Patrick Wisdom,
because they're a Chicago local meat and cheese company offering you a better all natural option. I walked through the Jewels today. I went up to the deli person and I said, hello, can I get the Green Ridge Farm ham? I got a pound of that, and my fridge is happy. I'm excited because they're makers of all natural deli meat, sausages, and their famous meat sticks. They're perfect for tailgating, happy hour, or school lunches. When you are a 25-year-old adult who doesn't work until about 5 p.m., I make myself a school lunch, and I do it with Green Ridge Farms meats. These all-natural meat sticks and meats are hardwood smoked for 8 hours, and with 16 grams of protein per stick, the meat sticks make a perfect post-workout snack. Meat sticks come in chicken, black forest beef, and flavors like jalapeno cheddar and spicy chili. And right now, when you order any 3 meat products at greenridgefarm.com and include a pack of meat sticks in your carts, those meat sticks will be free simply by using the code CHGO checkout. So again, when you order any 3 meat products at greenridgefarm.com and include a pack of meat sticks in your cart, those meat sticks will be free simply by using the code CHGO at checkout. And next, we have to tell you about FOCO. They are the great makers of apparel. Chicago, we've already got you covered with the best coverage for your favorite sports teams, so get fitted in the best sports gear around. FOCO has you covered from Soldier Field to the front room, north or south side, with hoodies, slippers, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. Get decked out like DeMar with apparel from the leaders in sports merch and collectibles. FOCO, if you're looking for the perfect gift for the football fan in your life, FOCO's got you covered with hoodies to fight that Lake Michigan breeze. So check out FOCO.com, FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below. And for all non-presale items, use promo code CHGO for 10% off at FOCO.com, or click the link in the description below. And again, use code CHGO for all non-presale items for 10% off. Let's head out to Guaranteed Rate Field and chat with our CHGO beat writer, Vinnie Duber. You can follow Vinnie on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. His latest piece talks about Jose Abreu and his future. So let's chat about that. Vinnie, how was it talking to Pito earlier today?
Repetitive, I guess is the word to use. He was asked a lot of questions about his future and basically eschewed all of them, basically going with the answer of, I'm a White Sox. He said White Sox. I like White Sox as the singular, but so I'll quote Jose and say, I'm a White Sox for tonight, and I'm a White Sox for tomorrow, and after that, we'll see. So a far cry, obviously, from 2019, where it was, if they don't bring me back, I'll re-sign myself. A lot of gushing about his love of the organization, a lot of compliments about how amazing the future would be for this team. This time around, it's a lot more business of baseball, as you would come to expect it from basically any other situation. Just a lot of, we'll see what the winter holds kind of deal. So really, aside from one little phrase that he said, he didn't even really express any sort of desire to, be back. And nor did he express the opposite, obviously. But he said one little thing when he was saying thank you to the fans, basically saying it's been a great 9 years. It'd be great if it could be more, kind of thing. But that's really it in terms of him talking about the potential of him coming back to this team even.
Heard you saw that you spoke to Lucas Giolito after the game. What did he and Miguel Cairo have to say about Jose Abreu?
Everybody else that wears a White Sox uniform would love to have Jose Abreu back next season. And in some cases, they have answered positively when I've asked, does this team need of Jose Abreu back next season? In a lot of cases, they said yes, absolutely. Be that Tim Anderson earlier today, be that Luis Robert when we talked to him recently, or Eloy Jimenez. Lucas Giolito said that he thought about it a little bit more and said, I don't know if any team necessarily needs one certain player. But if there was one that you had to pick, it would be Jose Abreu for this White Sox team. He is obviously also very hopeful that Jose Abreu can come back next year. Miguel Cairo, same thing, talking about how much Jose means to this clubhouse and means to this team. And, lost perhaps in the whole, everybody's talking about how important he is behind the scenes. Remember what he does, when the bright lights are on, too. He was this team's best hitter this season. He is going to be one of the top hits leaders in the American League. He has one of the highest batting averages and on-base percentages of his career. There is a lot that he does that is more than just what everybody compliments him for, which is being a leader and being the guy in that clubhouse. He also happens to be as good of a middle-of-the-order bat as White Sox fans have seen in many years.
Yeah, I thought Eloy's quote from your story was interesting. Yeah, why not? He's been fantastic this year, all the years that he's played this year. Why not? He's been one of the most motivating players that we have, day in, day out. No matter how he feels, he's out there. So why not? Do you have a real reason on why not? I think that clearly it would be the first base and DH logjam that they've created. And like I've said, I've kind of made the case that it's just easy to separate at this point. But especially with a player that you even referred to that Jerry Reinsdorf said would not play in a different uniform, that has seemed to gone away in the past 3 years. So why not? And maybe what has happened to cause that divide where, it's not, I'll sign myself and, he's not going to be in a different uniform. What's created that, you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a divide there. Nobody has spoken on saying that he feels.
And not trying to create a divide either. I just want to make that clear.
I'm trying to explain, just saying, like, he has not said he feels any differently about the White Sox organization. The White Sox organization has not said that they feel any differently about him. I think we probably should remember that the way he acted in 2019 was the unusual thing, right? And so this is a lot more what you hear from any player who's going to free agency across the game. The one thing that he did say, he was asked that question, why is this so different this time around as it was the last time? And he said, I've been through the process before now. And so I guess read into that what you will, but no real details other than that. Maybe he's a guy who, felt like he put it out there too much and that it hurt him from a business perspective. Who knows? You would only be guessing at that reason why he said that. But certainly the talk is much, much different, and you cannot avoid that reality, whether it's Jose not saying all the things that he said, or whether it's Rick Hahn coming out yesterday and basically saying a similar thing, taking a wait-and-see approach for what's going to happen this year. He referenced, that Jose returning has an effect, a ripple effect on how everybody else fits on this roster. The same sort of thing we've been talking about for weeks at this point. That was acknowledged by the general manager in his press conference yesterday. Not something that you would necessarily expect to hear from a guy who, forget all the franchise icon stuff. This is a guy who hits as well or better than anybody else in this lineup. And to me, at the end of the day, if Jose Abreu wants to come back to the White Sox, if your best hitter wants to come back to your team and sign up for another year or more, that's going to be very, very difficult and frankly bordering on downright stupid to say, no, we don't want you. We don't want the best hitter on our team to come back after this year we just had where we couldn't score any runs for the vast majority of the year. It might be that that's the way it turns out, because they might agree with you and say, we've got other pieces that are going to be part of this for a long term, and they need to fit better in order for us to move forward with our plan. Maybe that's the way it goes. But what you cannot say, you cannot watch Jose Abreu over the course of this 3-year contract and say, nah, he's not going to give me what I think that he's going to give me. He has proven that he is as consistent as he was in the first 6 years in a White Sox uniform. Obviously, the power numbers are down this year. It's been the case with the entire roster. And he didn't really have much of an answer to explain why that was the case today either. But listen, I think for the value that the guy brings to the chemistry and makeup of this team, plus the absolute just picture of consistency that he is at the plate, to me, if he wants to come back, you gotta have that conversation and have them very seriously.
I would agree. I don't think that you should let the franchise icon, like you said, and again, the player and caliber of player that he is, just walk. But I think you need to at least take it under advisement. And I wonder too, like, since Rick Hahn got the chance to speak yesterday, and we know Jose Abreu was behind you. Well documented by Imogen. That was a great photo, by the way. So we know that Jose was listening in that room. Like, do you think that he possibly could be mirroring what Rick's saying, just to again be a company, toe that company line again, or do you think it was a little bit different? Like, oh, since I've gone through the free agency process in 2019, I've learned more. I'm now 36 years old, and I understand my worth as a player. Like, you think which way do you think that might be leaning, or is it just speculation?
Well, I'll just say this. Those comments date back to spring training. I mean, the first time we heard about this, the first time our radars went up on why, or on this at all, was in spring training when he was asked about this being the end of his contract. He said stuff similar to the stuff he's saying now, which is, who knows what's going to happen? It might be here. It might be retired. It might be elsewhere. And he's not doing anything other than telling you all the possible things that could happen, listing the possible outcomes. But again, just the dramatic difference between what he said a few years ago and really a guy who at every turn has complimented this organization, overwhelmingly. He again thanked Jerry Reinsdorf today for the opportunity to play. Him and Jerry have had a close, or a very good relationship over his time here in Chicago. And you brought it up. It was Jerry Reinsdorf who basically promised him that he would never wear another uniform. It was Jerry Reinsdorf who had that ring made up for him after he hit for the cycle, you'll remember. This is a guy who means a lot to this organization. And I still think it would be near impossible. Lucas Giolito was just asked, what would it be like to see him in another uniform? He said, it would hurt. It would hurt, is what he said. And I think that is true to an extent. But I think there are overwhelming reasons, and a number of them, in which are for why Jose Abreu should be back on this roster next year, and many of them don't have to do with the fact that one day he'll have his jersey number retired, and one day he'll have a statue on the concourse. You're talking about next year. He can really help this team as well as anybody, I think.
Well, and Liam, in your story, mentioned that he's the top of the WAR leaderboards when you check that. But also you mentioned what Jerry said before he signed in 2019. Making that cycle ring, saying he's going to be a White Sox. He won the MVP in 2020. Like, he's added to the resume and much more. It's not like he just signed the 3-year contract and was bad. I mean, you even said you thought the 3-year contract was a mistake.
Initially,
he's proven that it's a steal.
Yeah,
I mean, Eric Hosmer and Brandon Belt are making more money than him. I'll take Jose Abreu.
Yeah, and the thing I got to say about Jose Abreu is I want him back, and there's myriad reasons for that. But one of the reasons I think is you don't want to make the same Carlos Rodon mistake where you let a guy who you've groomed from either drafting him or signing him a free agent gone up to a level, got to a great level. This is his third best offensive season in his career, actually, Sean. So the power's not there, but he's actually having a great offensive year.
Never said he wasn't.
I know, but you don't want to make the mistake of, all right, Jose, you get to go, and then they non-tender it, or they don't offer him a qualifying offer there, and then he just goes without any like actual attachments to him. So
I don't think he is up for a qualifying offer. No. I think
he received one. He received one after the 2019 season. They gave him a qualifying offer, and so I believe that makes him ineligible for it.
Can't be
now.
Okay. Then I'm wrong then. But
I could be wrong too. I think
that's
how
wrong.
it's worth. Yeah.
The big thing is,
salary
and I think that everybody understands this, is Jose Abreu means more to the White Sox than he means to any other team. Like, he's more valuable to the White Sox than he is to any other team. That's why the White Sox should re-sign him, because he's actually good, and he's an actual ambassador for the team. The Cuban lineage is also good. All the things that Jose Abreu brings to the table are fantastic. So this is the reason why yes, it's a glut, but it's not Jose Abreu's fault that they have a glut at first base, DH, right field, left field. Jose Abreu is the best hitter out of that crew. He should be brought back. And that's my 2 cents on it. Not necessarily a question for you, Vinny, there, but Sean wants to ask something right here.
Yeah, I just want to follow up. Vinny, you're right. If the qualifying offer system, clubs wishing to receive compensation, basically the player has not received a qualifying offer before previously in his career, and he did back on November 14th, 2019, when he accepted a 7.8 deal. So he did already receive a qualifying offer, accepted it, and that won't be an issue this year. He'll either be a free agent and sign with the White Sox, or he won't. And I honestly see it playing out. If he signs early on in the free agency, I think that's good for White Sox fans. I think if it kind of takes like 2 to 3 weeks, I think he's looking through the options and making a decision, and I think that kind of leaves it more up into the balance. And I think if it even goes past that, then I think it kind of favors the Sox more, because then he's kind of, I'm just, this is all hypothetical, but I think it would just be playing out the heartstrings at that point. And it's like, do I really want to go? I don't know. But I think it'll be interesting to see how that market plays out, because it seems like he wants to at least explore it. Someone else that might be exploring the free agent market, Johnny Cueto, he ended up making his last start for the White Sox last night. We saw him have a new running buddy up in the upper deck today, huh?
Yeah, Luis Robert joined him to do a little running. They're all Johnny's out there all the time, but he had yet to recruit anybody to run alongside him, at least to my knowledge, until today. And we saw Luis Robert go out there.
Did Johnny Cueto talk today or anything after last night about wanting to stay with this team or his future in 2023?
I mean, he basically said he'd be open to it, and if that were to work out that way, very standard issue answer there. But he said that he wants to pitch another 2 or 3 years. I mean, and I think you saw this year with the consistent workload that he was able to have in basically every start he made. I think that there's really nothing stopping him from doing that. That being said, I'm not quite sure if anybody's going to give him a 3-year contract, but to be able to keep pitching for that long, be it on maybe multiple deals, certainly within the realm of possibility.
Overall, bad season for Lucas Giolito, but he finishes off pretty strong for himself. Velocity's not there, but he looked good in his last 2 starts versus Twins. What do you have to say about finishing strong?
Yeah, I think he admitted that he never found the stuff that he was looking for, and the stuff, if you will, never worked out for him really after he lost it early in the season. But he was happy to be able to see the last few outings that he could still make it work. He could still get some of the results that he was looking for, even when things weren't necessarily going his way from the way he would like it to come out of his hand. So I think he was certainly pleased with ending on a positive note, but he knows that the offseason is going to be very important for him as he looks to try to get back to that level he was at previously.
Well, I just saw your tweet, too, about Miguel Cairo talking about tomorrow's lineup might be weird, but it will exclude Jose Abreu. So let's just ask this question now, and we'll obviously revisit this a lot during the offseason. But do we think this is Jose Abreu's last game as a White Sox? We'll start with you, Vinny. Is it White Sox or White Sox? How am I saying?
I think it's personal preference. I like White Sox.
Yeah, White Sox.
Yeah. Because if you have a pair of socks and you only have one of them, then that's a sock. That's a solitary sock. So that would be my opinion. But I know others have different ideas. The whole ending in an X thing, I think, really throws everybody off too. So
made up word. Yes.
But Listen, I would have to say no, just because I can't see him wearing another uniform. I really can't. I think that I think there are tough decisions to make. Let's put it this way. I'm not quite as hell bent on at all costs removing some of the poor defense from the corner outfield spots. It is undoubtedly a problem. I think the White Sox obviously should try to get as good as they possibly can there, but I think that offense is what wins you games, even though defense wins you championships, so they say. But I think that scoring more runs is the cure to solving what went wrong with the White Sox this year. And if you can have Jose Abreu and Andrew Vaughn and Eloy Jimenez all in that lineup together, then you do it. And I think you figure it out after that. If that means Eloy Jimenez has to play left field next year, and that makes everybody mad, then so be it. If that means Andrew Vaughn has to play some more in the outfield next year, and everybody hates that, then so be it. You got to remember too, AJ Pollock is soaking up one of those corner outfield spots as well. Gavin Sheets might be the guy who ends up being left out of this whole rotation. I don't know. I just think that if there is interest in Jose Abreu coming back, you have to bring him back. And I don't mean that you're handcuffed. I mean, you should do that for the benefit of this team. So that is my opinion. That doesn't mean that's how it's going to play out. But if you ask me to, say, are we going to see Abreu in a White Sox uniform after tomorrow? I believe the answer will be yes. I'm
one of the people who say Sox is singular and plural because it's a made-up word. Secondly, I think that Jose Abreu should come back, and the White Sox
will he come back?
Yes
or no?
Yes, okay. He will come back. I think he has no other place. I mean, he has plenty of other places to go, but there's no other place that is for him than Chicago. He's got to be here next year as the leader of this team. And I saw somebody put it in the comment section that he's not a leader. That's incorrect. Like, nothing can be further from the truth. Now, if people don't want to listen to him or things like that, that's on them. But I think at the very minimum, he's a leader by example. Posting every day, showing up, hurt, and still playing. That's leadership. Showing you the way that a veteran is supposed to go about his business. Jose Abreu, at very minimum, the stuff that we see on the TV screen, just as fans, he's a leader all the way there.
Yeah, I don't think he's a negative to the team. I don't think that it would be bad to keep him on the roster, but I think this will be his last game as a White Sox. And I think that your point about defense is fair, Vinny. I would be more willing to see Eloy Jimenez play left field than I think Andrew Vaughn, but I'm for seeing Eloy Jimenez play left field. But also, they made a longer-term contract or a contractual agreement with Eloy Jimenez than they did Jose Abreu. I think they have a more... they have more of a need to protect Eloy Jimenez, which means I think he should be playing DH. And I think Andrew Vaughn would improve at first base. I think you can make up the offense that is lost by Jose Abreu if Eloy is healthy and Andrew Vaughn has fresh legs playing first base, which,
but then
I could be proven wrong.
But you can't, Sean. You can't make it up from those two guys. I mean, seriously, the entire rest of the roster would have to pick it up a lot, because this guy is not just the guy who hits sixth and comes through every once in a while. This is the best hitter on the team. This year, he was the best hitter on the team. It doesn't mean he would be next year, but for years now, multiple years, he has been the best hitter on the team. And so that production is going to have to come from a lot of different sources, not just, all right, well, now we put Andrew Vaughn in the right position, so there you go. All is said and done.
I'm not denying that Jose Abreu hasn't been the best hitter. Production wise, he's been the best hitter over the past 3 years, without a doubt. But we always saw that there was the shirt with the guys as the TMT, and it was Eloy and Luis Robert and Tim Anderson and Yohan Moncada as the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Jose Abreu was Splinter. Like, Splinter is old, guys. Splinter is doing too much work. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles need to grow up and help Splinter out. So something needs to happen this offseason, and I just think that taking Splinter away from the kids could help them grow.
You just said that you think that Andrew Vaughn and Eloy Jimenez could make up the points or the runs that Jose Abreu would leave off there. Why would not have Jose Abreu there to have that? more runs. And then if those guys are going to be having those runs anyways, Jose Abreu is going to be doing Jose Abreu things already.
More runs, better, yes. But also, I just think that we've seen Eloy Jimenez be injury prone. We've seen Andrew Vaughn wear out through the end of the years. I just think that placing him at first base, you'd get a longer, more sustainable production from Andrew Vaughn, and I think you get a longer, more sustainable production from Eloy Jimenez, which might finally turn into a 40 home run season for Eloy Jimenez, which we saw from Jose Abreu. The power has suffered. He's been a fantastic contact hitter. He's gotten on base at a ridiculous amount. Second in AL in hits, smoked a double earlier today. Like his ability to hit is still there, but I think that power-wise and run production-wise, that could be picked up by Andrew Vaughn and Eloy Jimenez. That's why you drafted Andrew Vaughn with a top 3 pick, and that's why you signed Eloy to the deal he did. And that's not even mentioning Luis Robert, who should be healthy and not have his wrist injury. And he was supposed to be a guy with 30-30 speed and power as well. We haven't seen that on the south side. I understand Jose Abreu has done his job, but he's done his job, and there's still 81 and 81 at worst and 82 and 80 at best.
The thing is, he is literally on Fangraphs. If you value WAR, F-WAR, or B-WAR, he is the 41st best player in baseball according to F-WAR. Huh?
I'm not denying that.
I mean,
Never
so why
he wasn't productive?
You're subtracting that just because the other people are sucky. You don't go down to their level.
You need to find out what this team is. No. Are they sucky or are they not? I think getting rid of Jose, we know what Jose Abreu is. Abreu is a fantastic top-tier first baseman.
Why take that constant away? That constant that is good, why you take that away for nothing? You're not getting anything for that. These guys who you're trying to put in positions to win may not be good, may not be great. Eloy might just be injury-prone at DH, at left field, anywhere. And Andrew Vaughn might just be a under 20 home run guy. So I wouldn't take away the thing that is a constant. No matter what Jose's going to post, Jose's going to put up some numbers, and he's going to lead the team no matter what. I don't want to take that away just because I want to try to give Eloy 150 games. If he could do it, cool. But I don't want to take Jose Abreu away just because these other two guys got to play different positions.
They may be a podcast host, not a GM. So I mean that's my answer there. Elvis Andrus, the 50th most WAR in Major League Baseball this year in Fangraphs. So you keeping Elvis Andrus too?
Yeah, no, I'm taking him away because he'll have to switch to a different position.
Right.
Jose doesn't have to.
Jose might have to switch to DH. We'll put Eloy at first base. Anyways, Vinny, thank you for joining us from Guaranteed Rate Field. Thank you for the great articles. You could read Vinny's recent work about Tony La Russa's retirement press conference. You could read about Rick Hahn and what his press conference meant for the 2023 and 2022 offseason, and then also his most recent piece about Jose Abreu and what the players had to say about Jose Abreu and what he meant to the team. Make sure you follow Vinny on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He'll be covering the final Sox game 162 tomorrow. Anything you're looking forward to besides the end of the season?
I think Abreu has become a story now here the last couple of days, and it'll be interesting to see. Maybe he gets a late pinch hit or something for everybody to give him some claps. But 3 p.m. on a Wednesday, I don't know what that crowd's going to look like. But we'll see how we'll see how it all plays out, and if he gets any sort of little send off, maybe in case anybody's thinking that this might be the end for him.
Was it thin tonight, crowd-wise? One of the thinner ones
announced attendance was 24,000. That was the announced. Yeah. It didn't seem to be a very big crowd. But hey, as we always say with this team, the day of the week is what matters the most. And a Tuesday night in October, in early October, is probably not a recipe for drawing an immense amount of people.
Before we let you go, Herb Clark was wondering about hats. I got the Mets hat on. You have a 108 hat on. What's your hat, Vinny? Is it Grateful Dead?
Grateful Dead.
There you go. Grateful Dead. And then a Shakespeare Theater shirt as well.
Shakespeare's Pizza from
Pizza.
That's down in Columbia, Missouri, where I went to school. So that's a nice an old haunt down there.
Is that St. Louis style?
Oh, God, no, Herb. Okay. I would not touch that with a 10-foot pole. Ritz cracker with some ketchup on it? No, thank you.
Amen. Go Tigers. Thank you, Vinny. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber, the good Mizzou boy that he is. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. See you, Vinny.
See you guys.
That was fun. All right. Let's. You yelled at me, Herb. You
screamed yell at you.
Screamed at
me. I just raised my voice a little bit. Alex said preach, Herb. So I had to preach. And we know Beef Loaf is a pro Jose guy, and he knows that your Andrew Vaughn's not going to have as much trade value.
Oh, my God. Beef Loaf, if you ever figured out how to use Fangraphs and figured out what Z contact was, you'd see where Andrew Vaughn is this year. Top 50, my friend. I care more about that than WAR, F-WAR. I mean, he's playing first base. Andrew Vaughn could post a 4-WAR season at first base. Give me a break. Yes. Yes. He has a below 1 WAR because he's playing fucking left field, Herb. He was drafted as a first baseman and as a DH.
Hey.
Give me a break with this Andrew Vaughn as an outfielder bullshit.
There's a old saying, no excuses, play like a champion.
Oh, Jesus Christ. He's doing his best out there.
He's
just
not
slow.
doing his best. He's terrible.
Slow.
He's terrible.
All right, he's terrible. And if you're all worried about what Jose Abreu is going to go somewhere and post. Jose Abreu is a professional ball player.
Yes.
If Andrew Vaughn goes somewhere, he's going to post a 10-year career that you would be yearning for to be in a White Sox uniform, period. We did post a poll. Would you be okay with seeing Jose Abreu in another uniform next season? 52% said yes. 47% said no. 255 votes. So I guess they lean towards me.
Please, Beef Loaf, let's bet on Sean 4-WAR, F-WAR season for Vaughn's career.
How much you want?
Or next year, right?
How much you want, King? Let's go. I see you roll big on your Jets
steak.
bets. What do you want to do?
Do a steak
dinner?
like
That's
him.
it?
Like him.
I can take this man for a grand.
Next
We're talking
year,
about a G note right here.
You
I'm
next
turn
year,
down that bag?
you think
No.
Andrew Vaughn's going to be a
little
4-WAR?
steak? I could buy myself a steak.
4-WAR.
He said for his career. Give me that.
He didn't.
Especially if the dumbass White Sox trade him. That guy will go to Chase Field and post a 4-WAR season, 25 home runs, 120 RBIs, easy. Hitting 325. 385, slugging 515.
All I get to know about Andrew Vaughn is he's shown flashes of being the best hitter, and I've said it, he was, but also 2 years of him slowing down, of him getting tired at the end of the year. That's on Andrew Vaughn. You need to have yourself a better conditioning program where you can last 162 games. If you're going to be the guy that Sean's going to be replacing Pito with, the expectations will be as such. You're going to be playing first base for the White Sox. 30 and 100 will have to be posted every year. And every game, you will have to play, Andrew Vaughn, because that's what Jose Abreu does. So we got a big time.
Hasn't Andrew Vaughn led the team in second in games played in the past 2 years?
Yeah, but
he's done exactly what Jose Abreu's done.
Have you seen the numbers? Have you seen the numbers though?
What number?
The man
his
is
numbers because
falling
he's
off the
playing in
table.
left field, Herb.
It's falling off the table.
Okay. All right. And hey, you let him fall off the table, but no other organization would put him in left field, period. And if they put him at first base, he'd be posting a
You
fine
don't need
year.
to argue with me about this
150
shite
games.
organization. I'm number one on this organization being terrible.
So why are you blaming this kid? This kid played 50 games in the minor leagues, was called up because they needed to bail his ass and his talent to bail him out. And what he's done is he survived off his talent in the major leagues, playing out of position because he's slow as hell in left field, trying to chase balls down. I mean, he's falling flat on his face when he dives. He's not athletic enough to play the outfield.
He's barely giving you a win this year.
He's at 0 WAR this year on B WAR. I understand it's ugly, but you want let's just take out the defense and what's his offensive WAR at? I bet you it's pretty high. I'm not like too worried about Andrew Vaughn. I think we'd be stupid to get rid of him. His offensive WAR is a 2. His defensive WAR is a negative 2.6 on Baseball Reference.
He's terrible
In left field because he's not a left fielder.
Hey.
I'd be a terrible left fielder too. I'd also be swinging up a spaghetti bat and not be hitting shit. This guy is showing you something. Anyways, if you want to see him show you something, you could check out the Game Time app. Herb and I were...
There you go, Beef Loaf.
we're
103 career OPS plus. Impressive.
Okay, friends. All right.
He's an average. Yep. He's slightly above average hitter.
Let's take that out of context. Let's not remember that he was forced into an outfield spot last year. He injured his back making a dive in right field against the Yankees, and his batting average completely dipped off from August 15th, 2021 to the end of the year. Let's not use any context. Let's not use any, what's it called? Colors here. Let's just do black and white. 103 career OPS plus. Hey, Beef, last time you compared OPS plus between Elvis Andrus and Leury Garcia, the guy that came over, hit 9 home runs, has 17 home runs this year. Leury Garcia has 34 career home runs. Elvis Andrus hit 20 home runs in his career before. I mean, we don't have to just look at OPS plus.
These sounds like excuses to me.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hey.
Game Time
we
is
just
the
talked
hottest.
We just talked about Vinny, and he went to Missouri. Show me, State. Show me this. Right. Show me, champion.
Put him at first base.
Oh God!
Put him at first base, and he'll show you it.
He'll
show you it. Fine.
Hey, what's wrong?
He'll post a 4-WAR season.
A 2-WAR on offense is still not that impressive. He could still hit even if he plays left field and he's tired. I don't care. You can still hit.
He was one of those players that was said that, you don't have to run 100% to first base. I think that you can see that clearly him playing the outfield has taken a toll on his legs and his ability to drive the ball, and yet he still leads this team in home runs.
Well, Andrew Vaughn, I got to tell you, if you're watching this, get ready to play outfield next year. Get yourself in condition next year because you might have to play outfield if Pito comes back. So get yourself in condition. Hey. Get yourself ready for the grind of 162. Don't think you're a first baseman. Get yourself ready. Go and visit Johnny Cueto and run some of those damn stairs.
Andrew, if you are off tomorrow, if you're not in the lineup, I want you to buy a ticket on Game Time. It's the hottest new ticketing site that makes it easier than ever to score the best deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and show. You can get a workout in while you're at work. You can head up to the 500 level. They're probably $1 because tomorrow they get the best last-minute price drops. We were able to find great seats for about $10 a piece. Upper Deck, where Johnny Cueto's running, that's going to be $1, maybe 50 cents for Andrew Vaughn to get a ticket up to the 500 levels and start running up and down if he's not in that lineup. But if if you dreamed of bigger goals than the 500 section of Guaranteed Rate Field, maybe you've thought about sitting behind home plate. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you never thought you could buy. You won't find a better deal this season on White Sox tickets because tomorrow will be the final White Sox game that you can go to. If you're looking for a last-minute ticket deal, go out and buy it through Game Time. It's cheap. It's very affordable. It's very it gets you in at a good price. It was created by the fans for the fans. You're going to be getting the fans price, and it also guarantees the lowest price. If you find a better deal on a different site, you can contact their fantastic customer support, and you will get your money back, 110% of it, guaranteed through Game Time. If you love CHGO, then you'll love Game Time, and the best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description. Join over 15 million people who have downloaded the Game Time app and score the best seats to all your favorite events. Also, want to let you know about CHGO. We've been doing this for over 6 months now. It has been fantastic. Today is actually the 7th month anniversary because it was the 4th of March. Today is October 4th. So happy 7-month birthday to our 7-year-old. And CHGO, we're trying to give you the best Chicago sports coverage, whether it be the White Sox, whether it be the Blackhawks, whether it be the Bulls. We got Big Dave and Matt Peck screaming over here over a preseason game. Jay and Mario are probably screaming over the Hawks preseason game. Check out allchgo.com. You can see Vinnie Duber's fantastic writing up there. If you're a Sox fan, you'll get access to our CHGO Discord. We get to chat with all of our CHGO personalities, and you get a free shirt from the CHGO locker. And we have fantastic new designs popping in there weekly. So check out that deal at allchgo.com. We love you guys. We love the support from our members. And let's continue this Jose Abreu talk real quick. And let's go to the man himself, Rick Hahn, who talked about Jose Abreu's future, and maybe we can get a little bit of clues here from Rick Hahn.
Look, he's been exemplary in terms of what you want a White Sox player to be for 10 years now. It's not 9 years in a White Sox uniform. No matter what the future holds for him here or elsewhere, I don't think you're ever going to hear anyone with this organization say a bad word about Jose. Nothing but admiration and respect for the professionalism and the way he's carried himself both on the field and off. How it fits going forward, that remains to be seen come this offseason. Obviously, there's only so many different ways that you can fit various players on the roster, and Jose returning would have a ripple effect on others, but we'll just have to wait to see how things unfold and make those decisions accordingly. Going back to the first part of your statement, I really don't want to talk about individual players too much right now. Let them finish the season strong, and there'll be plenty of time in the offseason for further conversation.
Now, the one issue that we have with that is that we don't think Rick Hahn will speak again until a manager is named, which, I mean, that might be after the World Series. We're not sure. Maybe we'll get more clarity on what the White Sox will do with Jose Abreu. But I think the big thing that he mentioned was it will have a ripple effect. So I would assume that's the first thing that they're going to try to decide, just out of common courtesy for Jose. If they want to engage with contract negotiations with him, I think they're going to try to do that as quick as possible for his sake, so he knows what he can do. He knows what he can expect out of a free agency process if he needs to. I don't think they want to dick around with him because of what he's meant to the franchise.
Exactly. You want to treat him with the dignity that he has earned. And just like they did with Ozzie Guillen when they called him like the day after and said that you're not going to be getting a job after they fired Ricky Renteria, you need to tell Jose Abreu, if you've made that decision already, hey, Jose, man, thank you. Man, 9 years, awesome. But we're not going to be re-signing you. So, you have plenty of options other places. So thank you very much. And that's all. And probably won't be pushing that to the press. Maybe have a press conference before Jose was to officially hit free agency, just to say goodbye to the media, to say goodbye to the fans officially, because today was kind of that. But, there's a possibility he could come back. If there's some finality to it, you got to have something where Jose's speaking it to the fans or speaking to the media on the podium or something like that. So they owe him that much to just say, we're going to go try to sign you again, but, other teams are going to try to get you too, or we're not going to try to sign you. And that we just wanted to let you know before free agency started.
Right. And I want to go to one of the quotes from Jose today. Abreu's, and this is from Vinny's piece today. Abreu's future remains uncertain, though the speculation that 2022 might end in retirement can be thrown in the trash. The first baseman, speaking ahead of the team's penultimate game, nice big word there, Vinny, Tuesday, made it clear he badly wants to keep playing Major League Ball in 2023. Claro, he exclaimed, responding with the Spanish word for of course.
I was going to say that.
When asked whether he wanted to be extended, wanted to extend his career past the next 2 days. I'm hungry for more baseball. I would assume that, if he comes back to the White Sox, he's playing 150 games at first, right? So, the White Sox, that makes that decision and filling out that roster much easier. You have Grandal set at catcher because nobody wants that contract. You have Moncada set at third base because nobody wants that contract. You got Robert set at center. You got Anderson set at short. You'd have Abreu then at first base. Then it's about figuring out DH, left field, right field, and second base. And I think along with that, here is Rick Hahn's answer about trading pieces of the future and the core, and maybe guys like Andrew Vaughn.
You've always said, that you kind of approach things by really not taking any ideas off the table in terms of, changing the roster in any way. Does that include this year maybe having to make some tough decisions or just think about maybe breaking up this young core that you built?
Yeah, you have to be open to that. You absolutely have to be open to that because there are, look, we're not just going to be able to throw money at the problem. So you might have to get creative, and the trade market may be the more fruitful path for us to go as opposed to free agency over the coming months. And frankly, going back to Jesse's question, you want to make sure that you're comfortable enough to make those tough decisions about players that you may have signed or developed or traded for, and you don't get sort of caught in some sort of bias in favor of what we thought we put together. But I am confident that we'll be able to evaluate any of the opportunities that come along over the next few months objectively, and with the goal of getting us right back in contention for 23, even if that means cutting into guys that we previously thought were going to be with us for an extended period of time. But yes, we'll be open-minded.
So they'll be open-minded is what he said, and I think people really saw, we won't be able to throw money at the problem. We talked about that with Vinny yesterday. I think what he just said and what we took away from that press conference is that they will be open. So I think it just says, hey, if Abreu signs, we're open to trading Vaughn. We're open to trading Eloy. We're open to trading whoever. But also I think it means we're open to keeping those guys if Jose Abreu wants to make it easy on us and says, I don't want anything to do with your franchise. I don't think he'd use words like that, but I really wasn't able to get a lean or a tell on where Rick Hahn wants to go and what he wants to happen with this team. I think, if anything, I will just stake my claim. Abreu's gone because I think it's just best for the team. But Vaughn, you're saying that, you got to prove it. Does he still have the greatest trade value on this team, and would you be against getting rid of him?
No, Eloy has the greatest trade value, or Dylan Cease has the greatest trade value if we're talking about all the players.
Hitter-wise.
But if we're talking about hitters, Eloy, people in the comments said he's been one of the best hitters in the second half. Yes. And guess who saw that? Every other team in Major League Baseball. But you know what Eloy is? Not dependable. He's not available. He has played only 318 games in his career. Like, I don't know how many. Like, he has played 130. Let's see, 122 in his rookie year of 162, 55 in the shortened season of 60, 55 last year of 162, and 84 of this year of 162. That cannot be a thing. You cannot depend on him to post. And that is a big time problem, a huge problem. So if you can find something of value for Eloy Jimenez, I would trade him like that immediately. Yes, I know Eloy Jimenez is eventually going to be an all-star. But on this team that Rick Hahn has assembled, and somebody in the comments made a perfect quote. He said that Rick Hahn has assembled a lot of talent, but he didn't. Was it right there? You got it? Hahn did a fine job of assembling talent, but a poor job of building a baseball team. Spot on, Gator Bite. It is a team filled with designated hitters, filled with people who can't play defense correctly, including their catcher. And they need to make this team a little bit well-rounded, a little better defensively. And if you can find a person that is of equal or better value than Eloy Jimenez or a couple people, you might have to pull the trigger on that, because Eloy Jimenez, you can't keep on going this year or next year, and then in the middle of June, oh, Eloy's done this or that, he's out for the next 3 months. And when you say it, you're like, yeah, of course. That's what Eloy does. Eloy gets hurt. Whether it's his fault or not, he gets hurt. And you can't keep on going back to that and saying, I'm going to trust you this year. We're going to be posting 150 games. No, you can't.
Well, and I want to go to, Steven, you flashed the graphic. I'll go to the graphic now, actually. You talk about missing those games, and I think that's an important thing here. I mean, again, Andrew Vaughn's played over 120 games in both of his seasons. I understand that the production's fallen down. In the first half this season, he had an OPS of 813. In the second half, it was 678. In September, it's 603. I think he's just losing steam here. But flashing on the screen right now is value missed per games, and you could see, just looking at it in a different way, because we've seen, games missed and WAR. This is from Baseball Perspectives and value missed. Sox near the top of where it comes to value missed, and I think that's Eloy Jimenez, that's Tim Anderson, that's Luis Robert. Those injuries ended up being mishandled. Clearly, I think you could look at the Luis Robert injury. The Tim Anderson one's a bad break, but even the Eloy one, I mean, you could make questions. If he had this such a great of a second half, should they have just been more strict and said, you should not be playing the outfield? And I understand that his injury happened running the bases, but maybe he's not using his legs as much if he's playing the outfield. I do think we want to downplay the idea of, these guys having bad legs and stuff like that. And, you got to man up and you got to put some dirt on it and go out and play left field because that's where your position is, and make yourself, fit in Major League Baseball. I think Eloy tried his best when he was out there. I think he's just uncoordinated and also injury prone. And I think Andrew Vaughn tried his best, but I just think he's not athletic enough. I do think that logjam is vast, and they need to figure out. And I think, again, chipping away at it slowly. We'll start with with Jose Abreu and doing that down. But I think trading Eloy Jimenez and Andrew Vaughn, where they have so much future value, is just a mistake. I think you got to learn how to manage Eloy Jimenez, and you got to learn how to manage Andrew Vaughn, because I think they're going to be much, much more fruitful than signing a 36-year-old first baseman.
But this is the thing. You don't have leaders in the front office. Eloy Jimenez got hurt in spring training trying to jump over the fence for a ball that was hit 15 feet over that, and he tore his pectoral. At that point, where that was like his third time getting hurt in the outfield because he was trying to make a play, you, Rick Hahn, you, Kenny Williams, you, somebody on the team had to say, I don't give a goddamn if you don't feel like playing designated hitter. You're playing designated hitter. That is your role from here on out. They should have said that to him last year. And they didn't. 55 games this year, or last year, and then comes back for this year, gets hurt again. Now, you said it was on running, but he's injury prone. You got to take him away from getting injured more. So next year, yes, 100% Eloy Jimenez, you have to be the designated hitter. But will they have enough leadership? Will they have enough balls to say to Eloy Jimenez, you're not seeing the field at all. You're Yordan Alvarez now. You are a designated hitter exclusively, but they don't do that. That's the thing. I can see next year him coming out and him having a left field glove and him playing in left field in spring training and him starting the season as our left fielder. That is the thing that this organization fails at. They have a bunch of them, and they don't have enough balls to just say, you're a hitter. That's what we got you for. We didn't get you for your glove. You're a hitter. That's it. Stop doing anything else.
If you take the 72-game sample since Eloy Jimenez returned on July 6th, he would have given you over 162 games, which I know is a lot to ask for him, 34 home runs, and 104 RBIs. If you want to replace Jose Abreu, put Eloy Jimenez at DH and put Andrew Vaughn at first base. I think you'd get great results. And I think that's where the balls come from. It just says it's time to make a business decision. Yes, it's going to hurt your heartstrings. Yes, it's going to suck seeing Jose Abreu in a Miami Marlins uniform or a Houston Astros uniform, but whatever. In my opinion, I think it makes the White Sox better. And maybe it won't. But also, if it doesn't make the White Sox better, I think it's just such a a condemnation on what this team was built out of. You fucked up taking Andrew Vaughn then. You fucked up signing Eloy Jimenez. You fucked up signing Luis Robert. You fucked up signing Yasmani Grandal. You fucked up signing Yohan Moncada. Yes, I understand like that might be the conclusion we're coming to, but like you need to get to that conclusion as soon as possible so then you could start the rebuild over again. Like, you just can't waste this, because then if Abreu leaves, then it's like, well, here comes the young talent, and now the young talent has to come over. It's like, force the young talent into it now. Like, put them in that position to post. Force their hand.
But you're taking away a lot of production. That's what I'm thinking, Sean. So you're not adding any production.
I think you add production by just having Eloy play games. I think you add production by having Andrew Vaughn play his position. I think there's value to be added there.
But you still lose the production of Jose Abreu. You don't. That doesn't make up for the production of Jose Abreu.
But the at-bats are taken by Andrew Vaughn. Jose Abreu's at-bats are taken by Andrew Vaughn. Eloy Jimenez's DH. So all the DH at-bats that were taken by Edwin Encarnacion and all this bullshit, right? And Nomar Mazara. Okay. That's not, you don't have to, it's Eloy Jimenez posting 150 games at DH.
Okay, but you say, okay, so Andrew Vaughn takes Jose Abreu, but who takes Andrew Vaughn's?
Right, and that's the question that they'll need to figure out, and it's what do you do with that $18 million that's not going to Jose Abreu, right? What do you do with that bullpen, and how do you figure out how to get that cash? I understand that then there's a hole in left field and right field, but Oscar Colas is out there. That is an injection of youth. He's 24 years old. It's not like you're relying on a 21-year-old who's never had professional experience at all.
He's like a flip of the coin.
I think he's less of a flip of the coin than Gavin Sheets is. Like, I'm just saying that.
I'm saying all these options are not great.
Nimmo's not bad. I don't mind Nimmo, and thank you for bringing up Nimmo. I think if Nimmo, Colas, Sheets, Robert was the start of an outfield, I don't think it's bad. You non-roster invite Jason Hayward to spring training. Doesn't mean he has to play there. He said he would be in the minors. I think that's a good guy to have a clubhouse and a good guy to have depth. He's only 33 years old. Like, I think that there is the ability to find an outfielder. Michael Conforto is still out there. Like, there is the ability to find outfielders in this market. And if you want to go real bold, you could sign Judge. Let's just not get that out of the way. They're not signing Aaron Judge. But there's options out there, and you just need to fill 2 outfield spots. I think it's easier than filling a first base spot because you already have the first baseman on the roster.
I'm just saying, you're just doing a lot of stuff where you could just have Jose Abreu be the guy and trade those other guys. You can get the same value from Eloy Jimenez somewhere else, the aggregate of Eloy Jimenez, and play different spots and actually play good defense.
I think you could do that with Jose Abreu, though. Like, you can get the aggregate from Jose Abreu. Like, you can make him in the aggregate.
I don't think you can make him in the aggregate.
All right. I don't think any player is too special enough. I think just guys need to hit. Somebody did ask, what would I think it was the Fat Hipster said Elvis Andrus is at 1,997 home hits now, and he's going to be close to 2,000. What would 2,000 hits mean for him? He would be the 11th player who has played 95% of his games at shortstops to have 2,000 hits. He would join Jeter, Aparicio, Smith, Rollins, Larkin, Edgar Renteria, Larry Boa, Dick Grote, Herman Long, Gary Templeton, and Dave Bancroft as the only shortstops to have 2,000 hits in their career. So shout out to Elvis Andrus. He's been a fun part of this. But let's look at Jose Abreu's stats, and then we'll wrap this whole thing up. This is Jose Abreu's 2020. This is the final line for Jose Abreu in 2020 because he won't be playing tomorrow. He hit .304, had 40 doubles, 15 home runs, 75 RBIs, 62 walks, a slugging percentage of .446, weighted runs created plus of 138, an F-WAR of 3.9, a B-WAR of 4.2, and Jose Abreu on the year had 15 home runs. A different type of season from Jose Abreu, but I wouldn't define it as bad in any way.
No, he had a great season. As I said, it's his third highest season in his career, according to F-WAR. I mean, according to F-WAR, according to rated runs created plus, he's having a good year, and not the power year that he usually has, and not the runs driven in year that he usually is. But as I always say, runs batted in are a team-dependent stat, and this team did not score a lot of runs. But Jose also did not come through in the clutch as he did in years past. I think that Jose Abreu will post next year. This is the outlier. Next year, we'll be back to his regular numbers.
I think you're asking for a lot for a 36-year-old. Jose will turn 36 on January 29th.
But you want to bring back 36-year-old Elvis Andrus.
I never said that.
I mean,
I said I would if he wasn't too expensive, but I think he's going to get like a $10 million deal.
Yeah.
So I don't think Elvis Andrus is coming back.
I'm saying 36-year-olds are not old.
Yeah, but also second base sucks. Like that's different. Like you'd have a 24-year-old playing first base. I'm saying like 36 as in it seems like usually the power picks up when you're older. AJ Pollock's power is picked up. Elvis Andrus' power is picked up. It's weird that Jose Abreu didn't hit over 20 home runs. He's never done that in his career before outside of 2020. Oh, in 2018 where he had 22, but he only played 128 games. When he's played this many games, over 150 games, he has hit 30 home runs. Oh, I misread 2016 too. Let's start this over again. When he's played 150 more games or not, the 2 years he hasn't hit 30 or more home runs, 2016, 25, and 2020, 15. It's just a huge drop-off. Like, I don't know. Like, that drop-off's odd.
Yeah, it's the outlier. Sometimes,
one home run since August 3rd.
Exactly. All the doubles. Look at the slug is not as where he needs to be, but he is still driving the ball, still hitting the ball decently hard. I think the guy will hit home runs next year if you sign him to the White Sox. I think the White Sox fans will be furious next year if the Jose Abreu starts posting numbers and you got nothing for him, zero things for him, and he's on another team and he's making them win, and people are showing him appreciation and he's starting getting love. Like if he goes to some New York team and they're like, "Oh shit, this Jose Abreu is out here doing work," and he starts getting some notoriety and that he didn't get here in Chicago. People in Chicago will be like, "Hey man, we could have just kept that guy. He wanted to be here, and we said no."
He's a 36-year-old, though. Did you want to keep Paul Konerko for as long as you did?
No, Paul Konerko sucked his last 2 years. Literally sucked.
I know, but
he was terrible.
But what if Jose comes back next year and sucks?
Let him. Because he didn't suck this year.
This is the window. I would rather be a year too early than a year too late. Let's be on the Bill Belichick thing. Let's be smart people. He's 36 years old.
The thing is, you're not replacing him.
Average exit velocity of 91.9.
You're not replacing him. And you say the thing, but the man is already on the team they're replacing him with. So he's getting the same at-bats. You're not replacing him. You're just getting rid of him. And you're not replacing him with numbers, with people. If you're not replacing him with numbers, bring him back and find other ways for people to leave. He is the best hitter, unquestionably, right?
This year, yes.
Yes. So bring him back and make room for the other people. I don't care if they're young. Play ball. Post numbers. And then I'll think about keeping you. Then I'll think about you being untouchable, Andrew Vaughn. I'll think about you being untouchable, Eloy Jimenez.
I never said they were untouchable.
I'm just saying. I'm saying, like, these guys, like, I don't want these guys on the team just because they're young. Show something first. Youth doesn't mean a goddamn thing to me. Not a thing unless you're posting. If they're not posting, bye.
All right. Hey, that's the CHGO White Sox podcast. We'll have many more for you later on this season and tomorrow as well. We'll have a post-game show for you and a pregame show. We will have the last pregame show of the year for you. We'll start that at 2:30. We'll also have a fun show tomorrow. We'll be talking with Vinnie, recapping the final game of the season, but also Robert Murray of Fansided will be joining us, and maybe we'll be talking some manager stuff with Robert Murray. Should be fun to get a baseball insider look. But make sure you are subscribing to the CHGO YouTube channel. Make sure you're hitting that like button. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter at Ectorwall23. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Stephen Nicholas for producing the show. Thank you to Vinnie Duber for joining us from Guaranteed Rate Field. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. And thank you to Fleetwood Mac for your 1979 album Tusk. We'll talk to you tomorrow.